What up, y'all? Welcome to episode 25 of the What's Up Cuzzo podcast. And I know if you're catching us right now, you're like, man, I don't know, you could either be saying that we missed you Friday, you know what I'm saying, or what y'all doing on Tuesday. Well, we had some technical difficulties that we couldn't figure out. So here we are. But shout out to each and every one of you out there. Shout out to uh the co-host of the show. Jamel's in the building. And myself, uh, the other co-host of the show, Marco. We keep it short.
The myth, the legend.
I'm sorry?
I said the myth and the legend.
Man, that's what they tell me. You know what I'm saying? Nah, but shout out to each and every one of y'all. We appreciate you guys for hopping on this show. So a lot has transpired, these last few weeks. LA protests are still going. We're still going to talk about that. We're gonna take a different kind of perspective about that. And we also have the thing that happened between the little spat or the back and forth between Simone Biles and Riley Gaines, and we're going to take some reactions to that incident. And then Iran and Israel. Some people think it's going to be another war, but we'll take a look and see what Fox and other news outlets have to say about that right there. However, the day that this show was supposed to go live, and actually we did film, but it didn't come out. Oh man, yeah, it was just us talking, and moving our lips, and it was a lot of. But it's all good. I was able to figure out what happened, so that should not happen again. But it was Friday the 13th. And so we talked about, what a lot of us, talk about on Friday the 13th. I think you brought up like ghosts, goblins, spooky things and stuff like that.
Yeah. I mean, bad luck, black cats, walking
Maybe
on the ladders.
We experienced some of that Friday 13th stuff with the audio.
Yeah, exactly. So that's exactly what happened to us. We did a whole show, and lo and behold, no voices.
Man, the opposite of the show, The Voices, we had a spinoff. No voices.
No voices. They're not even turning their chairs around. It's just, yeah.
So it's all good though. But one of the things that kind of stuck out when you think about Friday the 13th, some of us that came up in a certain era may think of a certain movie, a certain character, right? What about you, Cuzzo? What sticks out to you when you hear Friday the 13th outside of those other things?
Man, I just remember just that dirty hockey mask,
Dirty hockey mask, right?
Yeah, that's what comes to mind first and foremost, and it's become a cult-like following, for the younger children, I will say, of today. Before it was like, not for us. No, I don't want to get anywhere near that. But now it's like, oh, it's fun, it's cool. Not back then. Back then, what we say, early 80s, late 70s.
Somewhere around there. Early 80s, yeah.
Early 80s to mid 80s. Yeah, that was something that was traumatizing, to say the least, for young children.
Well, yeah, and I would say the way that we were introduced to this figure. We're talking about Jason. Mr. Crystal Lake, Camp Crystal Lake.
Mhm.
We were introduced to him. We would have family gatherings. So that was the good part. We would have family get together on Sunday usually. We would have food. We would eat good, and nobody. I'm sure it was some action movies out during that time, but it seemed like nobody wanted to watch none of those movies. It was always,
Mhm.
Friday the 13th or Nightmare on Elm Street. Like every
Mhm.
time we came over there, one of them was coming out. I'm like, these movies
Right.
are too like, like what's going on? Like how many of y'all shooting a movie every week, huh?
Right.
But that's what it seemed like it would be. And I remember, you would hear that music, right?
You need a button for that. That would be cool if you had a
Hey,
button.
hey, I was just thinking about that too, actually.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I should have did that. But anyway, yeah,
Right.
I would hear that, man. It's like, I was all of a sudden get thirsty.
Mm.
Now I have to go in the kitchen and then, give me something to drink. So
Mhm.
that was the fun, the part of the movie when, I think you brought this up too. When you heard that noise, what would you think about?
I would just think about, yeah, it's something in the room. There's something else to do. Like, yeah, I don't need to stay in here. Let's go in the room. Somebody call my name. I always go back to my grandmother's room. Grandma room. She had the big comfy bed. She had a TV on in there. It was always something better to watch in there.
Maybe it was Sandman calling you. It was time to take a nap. That's why you
Something,
went in
but it
there.
was always something better to watch in there. And even though it wasn't something I would want to watch, it was better than what was on the TV in there,
Right,
for sure. So it
right,
was like, all right, I
absolutely.
guess I'm watching Matlock, or I'm watching Murder She Wrote now.
Man, so
So
yeah, it came out. It looks like the first, excuse me, the first one came out in 1980.
okay,
Yeah, so interesting.
I'm interested to see how. Okay, so every year, like you said, it seemed like okay, we came over here. It's a brand new movie coming out. So how often did they come out with Jason movies? I would be interested in
Every year it looks
every
like
year.
well, actually, they skipped one year. So
Uh
the first one, 1980,
huh.
and then I'm sorry, they skipped 2 years. So 1980,
Mhm,
1981, 1982, and then they
mhm,
skipped 83,
mhm,
84, 85,
mhm,
86, 88. So they
mhm,
skipped 87, 88, and 89, and then they
mhm,
skipped a few years.
mhm.
Jason needed a break. He was like, "Damn, man, y'all running me ragged."
Man, I'm
Uh,
tired.
and then he was like, "And y'all sending me to hell too." So that's Jason Go to Hell, 1993,
Right.
and they skipped quite a few years after that, from 93 to 2001.
Mhm.
Jason 10,
He was in
or
space.
Jason
I
X.
remember that one. Jason,
Huh?
he went to space.
Oh, is that what a Jason X is?
Yeah, yeah, I
Oh,
believe
okay.
so.
And then he put the two to against each other, Jason versus Freddy,
Uh-huh.
and then they had a Friday the 13th in 2009. So
Okay.
yeah,
So that's it, huh? 2009 is the last year.
that's what it looks like. Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
man, historic, man. He had a good run, man. They started getting crazy when he got into space, though.
Yeah, it went to space. I was like, okay. And actually, that Jason versus Freddy was pretty good. Actually, yeah,
Yeah,
that was a
I
pretty.
don't remember watching it. It
Yeah,
wasn't in my
it wasn't.
in my list of movies.
Yeah, I know, but now that I look back at it, it was kind of cheesy. But the fight between them was pretty cool to kind of see them link up
Yeah,
and have that fight. But yeah, man, Friday the 13th, man, strange things happen, as we've already said. So
absolutely. Let's see. So anyway, that's enough about that. And I
mm,
saw another movie this weekend. I might address it, because it made me think about something. And actually, we'll probably address it. We got time at the end. But we're gonna go ahead and hop into it. So, as some people call them, the lunch ladies, and there's some other names for them. but The View had a special guest on today. Was that today? Yeah, well, it looks like today. Uh, the former governor of California, the Governator, the Terminator, uh, Commando. What was the other movie he had? Brothers. Was it called Brothers? No, the Twins with Danny
Twins. Yep.
DeVito.
Uh-huh.
Autumn. He had a good run too. He had a lot of movies, right?
Yeah.
But anyway, he was on The View, and they asked him some questions about the stuff that's going on today.
Mm-hmm.
So let's see. Yeah, that ain't gonna work with that one. Let me see. I'm gonna fix it. Fix it. There we go. So we're gonna check him out and see what he had to say about the stuff that's going on in California. And let's see. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna like just hop in like in the middle. We don't have to wait until he's done. So I'm gonna like pause it, in between time.
Okay.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right.
You guys are drinking alcohol here.
Yes. As the former governor of California, my home state, California's been in the headlines. Obviously, there have been these huge protests of President Trump's immigration policies. He threatened to potentially arrest Gavin Newsom if he didn't comply. If you were governor right now of California, how would you be handling the ongoing crisis that the state's facing?
Well, I think the most important thing is when you are in a leadership position like that, is that you are inclusive and that you work together with everybody. And so it means that you have to work together with local government, the state government, and the federal government. They have to work together rather than fighting each other. Fighting each other's agendas and all of that stuff, that doesn't do good to anybody. And so that's number one. Number two, the most important
I'm sorry to hop off, pause, but I just want to address that. I've seen, Gavin Newsom has his podcast and stuff like that, and he has, some guests on there, and he also he posts or whoever posts for him on his Instagram a lot, and he talks about, everything that's happening, he blames it on Trump. Like Trump did this, Trump did that, Trump did this. I'm like, dude, like, why are you so fascinated with this guy? Yeah, he may have done some things that you don't like, but you haven't been forthright, and taking taking responsibility for the stuff that you did. You know what I mean? I get tired of hearing people say, Trump did this and he did that. Like he's not the only one. But what about, we're in a deficit, like I said, and you guys are probably gonna be tired of me saying that, but we're in a deficit. Los Angeles is in $1 billion deficit. He is the governor of California. Los Angeles is in California, so that matters. California. Let me see. Actually, let me pull it up real quick. Los Angeles budget deficit. Okay, I'm off a little bit. Okay, so there we go, right there. California, budget deficit. What does that say? Los Angeles is currently facing a significant budget deficit of nearly $1 billion for the 2025-2026 fiscal year. The shortfall is attributed to the various factors, including reduced revenue from taxes, increased spending on legal settlements and employee salaries, and the need to replenish depleted reserve funds. I don't know what all that is. I don't want to try to go all into it. But actually, let me see. California. Okay, I was wrong. I was off. Okay. So California is facing a budget deficit. Governor Newsom's May revision to the 2025-2026 state budget projects a $12 billion shortfall. Why? That's what I want to know.
Mm-hmm.
You're so like, and guess what? You can't blame that on Trump. Because Trump wasn't in office, these last 4 years. So what happened? Why are we in a deficit? Let me see. Was California a budget surplus? Let's see. Let's share it so I can be transparent. All right. So it said no, California does not currently have a budget surplus. Okay, we already stated that. In fact, the state is facing a significant budget deficit. Okay. Let's see. In 2022, yeah, California had a record-breaking surplus of $97.5 billion. However, by 2024, this is turned into a deficit with the projections of $56 billion over the next 2 fiscal years. What happened?
Houseway, as they say.
How? For sure. How did that happen?
They just flipped that upside down. That's crazy.
Bro, $97.5 billion, and now we're in a $12 billion deficit. Where did what's that? 5 billion, $106 billion? Where did that money go to?
In their pockets. Other places.
On the rail, on the what's that rail he's trying
on
to
that rail? Yeah, that rail system.
Allegedly.
Allegedly.
That
ain't gonna ever get built.
Man, it's crazy. So I'll go ahead and start it back.
The thing is to create immigration reform, because all of this is happening because we don't have immigration reform. For decades now, this country has needed immigration reform, which means that we recognize the fact there's people in the south of America that want to come north to work, and that we therefore should supply them with enough visas so they can come, because we need those workers. So this is the bottom line, because then we would know who is here. We will be able to get rid of the criminal elements that are here and all of this stuff, so we wouldn't be in a mess that we're in right now. So this is my way of saying always, Democrats and Republicans have to come together and solve this issue if they really want to be public servants.
So what do you think about that part? He's saying that
I disagree with us needing the workers in terms of immigration reform. Yes, immigration reform was needed a long time ago, but other things needed to be reformed as well. The whole drug epidemic that happened here, those are some things that took out a lot of the workforce. The 3 strikes rule, that took out a lot of the workforce, Right. So all those things that they implemented, to go against the people that were here, economy-wise, we can say Black people, we can say Hispanic people, the numbers show what it is. So you didn't need that workforce. You needed it after you implemented those things, of course. So I will say that. I agree with the part that, you need to reform to give out more visas so people can come here legally. And you definitely need a bridge to where you can allow people to do things the right way and not allow them to continuously do things the wrong way. You reward people by giving them amnesty. Since this is a sanctuary city here in California, you've allowed that to happen for so long that the problem is just way out of proportion and out of hand at this point.
But do you think that a lot of those people actually need sanctuary?
No, I don't. What do you need sanctuary from? Sanctuary is coming from ridden, war-torn countries or cities. Your government there is corrupt, so that's why you want to come here to work. You know, just like the young lady was talking about in the video he was watching last time. Oh, we only come to America because, you know, we need the money or the work. Everything else in Mexico is better. Okay, well, stay there then. What are you coming here for?
Right.
You know, so I do agree with him that we definitely need some systems reform so it's more transparent, you know, and it's not layered as it is because it's as layered as it is. That's why they've been able to do what they've done,
Absolutely.
which is misappropriate the funds, which is allow more illegals to come in here. Well, I won't say illegals, allow more immigrants to come here illegally. Let me say it that way, because they haven't done the proper processing in terms of getting visas. And if you get a visa, a work visa, then you don't go back and renew it. You just stay.
Right.
It's not like people are saying, all right, well, my visa is up. I'm going to go leave now. No, they stay because they know they can stay here for decades, generations. And now we have this issue of this problem, you know.
And since we're sharing, actually, let me take a look at what I pulled up right here. So we see this residency. So this is Mexico. You must legally reside in Mexico for a specific period, typically 5 years, with a temporary or permanent visa. So you need a visa.
Mm-hmm.
All right. This period may be reduced to 2 years in some cases, such as having a Mexican spouse or children. Okay. 2, demonstrate knowledge and integration. Right? Integration. I'm sorry, integration.
Yeah.
Integration. Mm-hmm. Okay. You'll need to pass a test or demonstrate your proficiency in Spanish and your understanding of Mexican history and culture. So you telling me if I leave here and I go, I have to learn how to speak Spanish? That is crazy. That's ludicrous. I shouldn't have to learn how to speak Spanish. But hey, if I want to go somewhere, then I have to get accustomed to the language and I have to learn the history and culture. So not only do I have to learn the language, but I also have to learn and understand the history and the culture of this country, like how the country, wasn't stolen. Maybe that's one of the things. I don't know. I know we don't want to talk about that because people keep saying that Mexico was stolen, but it was acquired by the U.S. $15 million. I'll just throw that in there real quick. Then you have to apply for naturalization. So you have to stay here 5 years, maybe 2. If you bust down one of the Mexican females, then you might be able to lower it to 2 years, right? Then you have to learn the history and pass a test. And then you have to apply for naturalization. You need to submit an application to see. This is where they would have me because I don't know the language, so I'll be out. You out of here. And then look at this. You have to renounce your previous citizenship. And it says potentially, okay. In some cases, you may need to renounce your previous citizenship. And then oath of allegiance. You'll need to take an oath of allegiance to Mexico. Boy. Hey. Hey. That's wild, right?
Yeah.
Am I tripping?
Yeah. Maybe.
So you're telling me if I go to another country, I have to potentially denounce the country I came from, and I have to take a oath of allegiance to that country. What? You know what?
Mm-hmm.
Who will make people do that?
Mm.
Who will make people not? I mean, America. I guess in America, people make up their own rules. And a lot of countries they allow you to come in, but you have to follow the rules. And that's all that a lot of people are saying. And I'm kind of torn on this because I have family and friends who, are Latino. And I'm sure now, damn, let me not say that I'm sure. some of those people some of their family members, I would say, may be illegal. I don't know. Because I ain't asking no questions. I'm gonna just be oblivious to it because I don't know. I'm not gonna ask no questions. And I'm serious. Hey, you know what? You do your thing. However, I see a lot of people who were born here advocating for those, and I get it. You know, I get the point that they were here for 10, 20, 30 years. And some of the workers are, these workers, like he said, we need the workers, but these workers have been doing jobs that a lot of people don't want to do. Okay, I understand that. However, you got to go through the process. And especially if you've been here that long, why haven't you gone through the process? And I'll say this last thing is that, again, you have people advocating for that. And what I'm seeing from our leaders and our officials, they're not helping and working. Like Arnold said, they need to work together. They're not trying to work with ICE to make sure the people that they're coming after, are the ones that they target. What's happening is that ICE is saying, okay, you know what? Since you don't want to help me, we're just gonna flood the streets. And what's gonna happen is, we're just gonna grab the people that we grab, and we're gonna check them out. If you guys, are not legal, then we taking you too. So why not work with everybody so the people that are the bad people could get caught? I don't know. And I'm saying this. I mean, we could play the video too. We have time, but this is Tom Homan's. This is what Tom Homan is saying. He said this, this morning, actually, I was listening. We're going to get the people our job is to get the people that are bad. But if you guys are not going to work with us so we could get those people, then those people that are illegal, which is still a crime, we're going to go after those people too. So I don't want to say that they're causing, more harm, but I mean, it sounds like they could be causing more harm. I just say they could be. But anyway, let me go ahead and let me see. Is it sharing? Nope, it's not sharing. Is it sharing? All right, there we go.
Yeah. If they want to be party servants and be party hacks and be tied to their ideology, then it won't happen. Yeah. But if you want to make this country better, and if you want to improve this country and improve the situation of people's lives and bring the prices down and all of this, you will go and serve the people of America. This is what it is. If you're a public servant, that's what you're supposed to do. So that's what I would do if I'm governor.
Yes. But you were governor already.
I was.
You can't do it again.
I was. I'm not governor anymore.
But you are. But as an immigrant yourself, you are an immigrant. You're an immigrant in this country. Yeah. Did you have a visceral reaction to what they're doing, what ICE is doing, when you see the videos of it?
Well, I tell you, you said that the immigrant. I'm so proud and happy that I was embraced by the American people like that. I mean, imagine I came over here with the age of 21.
Hello, my name is Adam Ferrari, Chief Executive Officer of Phoenix Energy. I look forward to you
with absolutely nothing.
It's brilliant.
And then to create a career like that. I mean, in no other country in the world could you do that. Yeah. Every single thing, if it's my bodybuilding career, if it's my acting career, becoming governor, the beautiful family that I've created, all of this is because of America.
That's true.
And so this is why I'm so happy to see firsthand that this is the greatest country in the world, and this is the land of opportunity. And I think because I'm such a proud American and a proud immigrant that came to America, I was asked to do, on July 4th, a big speech, the keynote speech at Mount Vernon, where George Washington was laid to rest, and where he lived and all that, to celebrate the 250th anniversary of America. the existence of America. And I will be doing the speech that they asked me because I'm an immigrant, and there will be 7,000 some people there, and there will be people that will be sworn in and will become citizens that day.
That's great.
So it's really a great celebration. And this is what this is all about: is to celebrate people becoming Americans and coming to America and all that. And so I just think the world of the great kind of a history that we have with immigrants in America. But the key thing also is at the same time that we got to do things legal. That is the important thing, you know. So you got to do things legal, and those people that are doing illegal things in America and that are foreigners, they are not smart. Because when you come to America, you're a guest, and you have to behave like a guest. Like when I go to someone's house and I'm a guest, then I will do everything I can to keep things clean and to make my bed.
You, what you think about that?
You know, they tell him the truth. They tell him the exact truth. I like how he, you know, got the question, then run around the block, and I'm gonna come around the block my way, and I'm gonna ride this way. I'm gonna ride up slow. I'm not about to speed down the street like you wanted me to because you asked me a question.
Right.
Yeah, I like how I like what he's saying. It's true. I go to your house, man. I'm over here as a guest. You on your best behavior, you know. You go to the bathroom, you wash your hands, you know, you don't want to mess it up. Everything's clean. You're not about to just piss on the floor and leave it there, piss on the seat, you know, and just leave it there. You know, if you drop a couple of droppers, you're gonna wipe it off and, you know, flush it down and make sure everything's clean, like you never was there.
Right.
You know, and I think I heard a quote, you know, I think it was Jim Rohn, and say, man, when you come into a situation, you know, you want to leave things better than you left it.
Better than you left them,
you know. Yeah, you don't want to come there and make things worse, because it's like people don't want you there because of that same fact. So he's telling the absolute truth.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, I think he was cooking, man. He was like you said, he bent the block. You know what I mean? He I'm sure that they expected him to answer it a certain way. And if you look at her hand right there, you see that she's trying to hop in. She doesn't want to necessarily interrupt him because of who he is. But you see her hand right there, she's trying to like get his attention so she could stop him from finishing. Because these
Stop
folks
him
are
to
super
saying
liberal.
the right thing. Yeah, exactly. They wanted to go a certain way. Yeah.
Right. But I mean,
they want him to be reaction and emotional.
Right. I'm sorry, go ahead.
And he's not. He's being logical. He's being logical, and he's addressing the issue like it's supposed to be addressed. Not this fanaticism that you see going on right now. We got to do things the proper and the right way on how things were built initially for this country to be as great as it was and as great as it still is. Yes, we've fallen in so many different ways, but yeah, we still have some good people here with great ideals that want to work together, you know, to continue to make this place the best it can be. Simple.
Absolutely. So let's see what else he has to say.
Keep things clean and to make my bed and to do everything that is the right thing to do rather than committing a crime or being abusive or something like that. So that doesn't really work in this country. So I think the important thing is when you become an immigrant, to think about, okay, I go to America because I want to use America for the great opportunities that America has in education, in jobs, creating a family, all of those kind of things. Then you have to think about, okay, if I get all of those things from America, then I have to give something back. You have a responsibility as an immigrant to give back to America and to pay back to America and to go and do something for your community for no money whatsoever. Give something back to after-school programs, Special Olympics, or whatever it is. Make this country a better place.
Arnold, don't forget that.
Yeah, he was spitting right there for sure. You know, kind of like that video. I was gonna play it today, but I won't. The young lady who, you know, said that America is not the best country, it's not better, it's just a little a little less
Ooh,
worse
you
than the
should have
countries that they came
played it.
from.
You should have played it right after this one too, to kind of see the other side of it. That would have been perfect. To kind of play that
Okay.
video. And this is
Maybe
how
I could
some
add.
people.
I could add it in.
Yeah, add it in later. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, but you know, it's not about just taking. You know, people. You know, people get tired of takers, and I'm not saying I'm tired of anybody in the Latino community. So don't get me wrong. But just in general, like even in your family, like if you got somebody that's, hey, you know, can you help me with this? Oh, can you do this? Like you want to help your family out, but it's like if they're asking, oh, let me borrow $1. Let me borrow. Oh, you got $1 I could borrow? Nah, I ain't got it. But every time, you know, you get into a situation, every time they get into a situation, they want to take, and sometimes that gets taxing, and you're not adding to the relationship. And so this is like when you come here, this is a relationship, right? You're in relation with the United States. You know, like we were reading in Mexico, residency steps. We're not saying necessarily just announce your country. Nobody ever actually do that because one, you didn't follow the process. However, like give back. It's not about just taking. And I know we got a lot of people that, you know, work here and they send money back. That's cool. But also give to this, you know, to this country, you know, give to the relationship. And I think people will receive, you know, others a lot more. You know what I mean? Let me finish. Let me see if he has something else to say. And unless you have something to jump in and you wanted to say something about that.
No, I was just gonna agree with you. I mean initially, and I would say I'm not thinking about those hardworking, you know, people that come here and to make a better, you know, place for their family, you know, make a better space, you know, for their community. And there are some people who give back to communities, you know. So those are not the people we're talking about. We're talking about the ones that come here and make the place worse because they're into crime or they have this mentality that they're supposed to get something for nothing, you know, just because you're an immigrant or you need help, so you came here for this. I mean, 9 times out of 10, I know those are not the mindsets among the people, but as we can see, you know, from sensationalism, programming, psyops, you know, those people do exist. So we want to acknowledge both sides.
Absolutely. So let's see what else he has to say, and then we'll maybe skip to the next thing.
There's 90% of the people who come here are trying to do the right thing.
They're less likely to commit crimes.
And a lot of what's happening right now is people are getting snatched who shouldn't be snatched out of the country. People who have visas, people who have all those things. So we want all the right people. We don't want people who are doing bad stuff.
But they are less likely, immigrants are much less likely to commit crimes in this country.
All right, I'm done. Okay.
You see what I'm talking about? She's so ready to get in there and spew her fucking, I'm sorry for my language, but spew her rhetoric. Like no one cares what you're trying to say. No one cares. You know exactly what they're talking about. Stop trying to make excuses for nothing that does not matter. We know exactly who we're talking about. We know that 90% of the immigrants that come here want a better space and all that stuff. We just said that.
But I guarantee you 90% of them are not trying to do the right thing because they would have done the right thing. You know what I mean? Like if 90% of the people were trying to do the right thing, that means 90% of, you know, those who are illegal now would have went through the proper channels and the proper process to become legal. And I'm guarantee you we wouldn't be having this conversation.
Yeah, but we also know when you get a plug and they tell you how to run the play, most people are going to run the play and run the plug. That's it. So they were told to come here and do things a certain way. They were not told to come here and do things this way. They were
100%.
told to come here and do things a certain way. And people do not address that. It's not one thing or the other. It's many different layers and levels to this game we call life, you know. So if people do not acknowledge that and want to remain naive, and then you do a disservice to the people for them not to make a self-determination based on how you think or look at things.
Right.
Then you can't develop your own critical thinking about a subject because you have talking points.
Let me ask you this. If I know you said that people, were told to run the play and to come over here a certain way. Do you think those people believe that they were doing it the right way?
No. I believe I believe they were doing things the way that they were told. Just like people watch the news and they believe Democrats are this way, Republicans are that way, because the people's been coming here since the 60s,
Right.
This is nothing new.
Nothing new at all. I agree.
They've been coming here for a long time. We've been watching movies and we've been seeing, the interactions and the movies and, our neighborhoods change for a long time.
Right.
So it's not like, when they came over here, we weren't seeing long lines down at the immigration or the naturalization office or whatever you want to call it to get people to do things the right way. No, we need the workforce. We needed this done this way. So come on in, got a space for you. Eventually we'll get around to that, but go ahead, raise your families, have your families. And then, when the time comes, we'll get everybody situated and we'll get you, naturalized or whatever, Some people took it amongst themselves and said, hey, I'm going to do it this way because they can eventually just deport us whenever they want to, So some people took more of the initiative. Let me learn the language of this place, not just, I'm just going to speak Spanish and be cool, which works out for them because they have enough family, they have enough communities for that, so that can work, and there's nothing wrong with that if you feel like that's beneficial for you. I'm not speaking bad about that, but, I'm just speaking on what I know, what I see, in terms of the experience from my perspective, in terms of the things, how they happen and the timelines that they were given, So if everybody was told to do a certain thing a certain way, then that's what they've been doing. It's been made okay to do things, haphazardly as they've been. Oh, we'll get around to it. Don't worry about it. Oh, no. You don't have to do that. We can do it this way. If you work or you go to the military or you join the police force or you get into construction, all those ways, all those things,
And it's crazy that it's gotten so far out of hand, that nobody else thought to put a process in place to, make these things, better. But let's see if anything else is said.
They knew. It was designed this way.
I'm just saying that
it was designed this way.
Yeah. They let it get far out of hand too.
Than actually American-born citizens. And the other thing I just wanted to say is that Governor Newsom did not ask for the National Guard to come to, the federal government to come to California. There are 9,000 local law enforcement officers in California. Did he really? Every president has to send them the law.
I mean, look, this is a whole other issue because remember, the National Guard is under the governor's supervision.
That's right.
Yeah.
But, like for instance, when the National Guard was sent to Iraq during the Iraqi War, I was not the one that said, "Oh yeah, go to Iraq." The Bush administration came and said, "We need those people."
They came to you.
They came to us, and we need the resources, we need the equipment, we need the weapons, we need the vehicles to ship to Iraq, and then they ship.
Yeah, I think that's about it. So shout out to the governor, man. The governor.
The governor.
Yeah. Get down.
Get down.
Yeah, shout out to him, man, for speaking his truth.
Yeah, man, that's one of my favorite actors, as we all know, growing up in the early '90s, late '80s. Yeah, like we said, some of his movies earlier, but just his story, in particular, it's inspiring if you listen to it, and then just hearing him speak right now in terms of his thought process. I'm not sitting here, trying to be his campaign manager, but you can appreciate, when you listen to someone and you can see how their mind kind of works.
Yeah.
You can kind of see, the foundations on, why they think a certain way and how they speak, where that comes from. And of course, he's had training, over many years. He's had, training on how to speak.
Training. Yeah.
Yeah, speech training, PR training.
Yeah.
So that's like I said earlier, when she asked that question, we already know that's not a softball question. You just trying to railroad me and get me emotionally involved in something right now, so you guys can take over this interview.
Well, I think what they expected though is they expected him to say it a certain way, the way that they would say it.
Right, a Democrat, because he's a Democrat. He wasn't a Republican governor.
No, he was a Republican.
Was he?
Yeah.
Oh, he was a Republican? Okay,
Yeah.
I thought he was a Democrat.
Yeah,
okay.
No, but he I'm assuming they thought that he was gonna answer it the way that they thought he would answer it, and that's why when he started to, actually go into his soliloquy, as Stephen A. Smith would say, he was like, hey, like hold on, like,
right,
but
hold on.
But that ain't what we expected you to say.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So it is what it is, man. So let's go ahead and we spent a lot of time on that one. So let us
40 minutes.
Yeah.
Almost the show right there.
Yeah. So let's go ahead and hop to the next one. So Riley Gaines and Simone Biles. For those who don't know, Simone Biles had something to say to Riley Gaines because she didn't believe in biological men competing in women's sports. And so there's been a lot of Simone Biles has been getting a lot of backlash for it. And let's see, here's a reaction to that whole incident here. Let's see. Hold on, why is it not up there, bruh? Oh man, they playing me. Oh, that's why. Gotta hit present. All right. We in there. So it's this one right here. There's like 4 of them, but we're gonna only watch this one here. Let's see.
Don't worry, Riley Gaines. I will say what you cannot say. That I am disappointed in you, Simone Biles. I thought you were an advocate for young girls. I thought you were an advocate for those who had been used and exploited. I thought you were an advocate for those whose voices had been silenced, and I thought wrong. I'm disappointed because today you've let down 2 communities. You've let down young girls who have supported you, and you've let down African Americans with this blackface trope of laughing with nothing intelligent to say. Wake up, sister. You're being used.
Okay.
Let's see. You want to see another one?
And then Riley Gaines is who again?
She's a white swimmer. And so she came out and actually, okay, you want to, let me see. We could find, let me see, stop sharing. If we could find what, it was a tweet basically. Let's see. Okay, I just have this one with Charlie Kirk. and I'll just show you. It's basically, like I said, it's basically a tweet. A tweet went back and forth between them two, but I'll show the one. This one is from Charlie Kirk, but it has he's responding to Simone Biles, but this is her. You're truly sick. All of this campaigning because you lost the race. Straight up sore loser. You should be uplifting the trans community and perhaps finding a way to make sports inclusive or creating a yeah, maybe that won't work. Oh yeah, here it is right here.
So they were complaining they lost a race to biological women. Like I'm trying to.
No. So yeah. So let me say here. So you should be uplifting the trans community and perhaps finding a way to make sports inclusive or not creating a new avenue where trans feel safe in sports, maybe a transgender category in all sports. But instead, you bully them. One thing for sure is no one in sports is safe with you around. And so let me see. And so what happened was Riley lost to a biological male in a swim meet. And so she was basically expressing her dissatisfaction with people allowing.
Oh, I get it now. I was trying to follow. I was like, huh? So Riley Gaines is the one that everyone's caping for because she was upset that she lost against a biological male.
Right.
And then Simone Biles spoke up for the trans
community, saying that she shouldn't be coming after the trans community. She should make it more inclusive and things of that nature.
How can she come at Riley Gaines? She's a woman. No, the trans community needs to build their own league for this category.
You think just for this category, you think they should have like just a separate, not just category for swimming, because this is for swimming, but you know they should have
all sports, yeah. Just like they have Special Olympics. You can have the trans Olympics. What's wrong with that?
I don't see anything wrong with it.
I don't see anything wrong with it. Why do you try to fit a square peg into a round hole? I don't get it. And then complain when someone says, yeah, that doesn't fit.
I mean, you know, you have two people on you know, both sides of the coin. You know, that's one thing that the president doesn't believe in, and he's trying to get rid of that. And I myself don't think it's fair.
Right.
You know, because the makeup is different. You know, even though you identify a certain way, the makeup is still different. You know, than a biological female.
Right. Because it's just like
you can tell me off
okay.
cameras. I want to laugh too.
Right. Yeah, but it's just kind of like, okay, you have all the parts here of a motorcycle, you know, and you know, you're trying to enter into a bike race. Like, yeah, this is not gonna work. Yeah, you have a motorized, faster, you know, bike versus people using their legs. Is the way I'm looking at it.
Right.
So obviously, the one that's motorized and stronger horsepower is going to win.
Yeah.
Not the people using their legs.
Right. Yeah. I mean,
I was like, wait a minute, something's not fair right here. Yeah, I've been training all my life using my two legs, and all of a sudden, this person comes in here with the motorized bike.
Right. Man, and definitely, you know, I think for people who have, you know, biological girls or women that are in you know, in a sport that, you know, it like you said, they trained forever, you know, and that gets stripped away. They lose opportunities, I should say. That's what I'm trying to say. They lose opportunities, you know. I don't know if you remember that boxer was a biological male boxing against a woman. And he hit her with like, I'm sorry, dang, yeah, she got hit with a hard blow, and then she threw in a towel, like she dropped to her knees. It's just a different dynamic, you know, a different makeup, you know, like you said, a motorized bike. You know what I'm saying? It's like you know, the bionic man, you know what I'm saying, hitting a regular person.
Right, exactly.
You know, so yeah, I think, you know, like people are coming for Simone. I guess she thought that, you know, she was going to be loved, and people were coming for her head. You know, they're talking about.
I'm glad.
I know, huh?
Good. I said I'm glad. Good.
Yeah, she suffered from some, you know, I guess mental illness before, and she, you know, quit. So you got a lot of people saying, "Hey,
oh, she got CTE." Is that what they trying to say?
Man, I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't know.
You failed 2 big times in your head trying to do these flips, so I think you suffering. It's crazy.
Yeah, they're coming for it, man. So that's the whole thing is about, pretty much, you know. I was trying to pull up the person that she raced against, but she said they were like 6'4", you know, and you know, got they meat, you know, hanging out, you know what I'm saying?
Man, I would rather see, like back in the day when they was doing the Olympics, all the Russian and the German winning when they was doping. You know, I would rather see that, you know, versus, you know, this, you know, because at least I know, okay, I see the advantage of the drugs, but biologically, like, what's the difference? I might as well be able to take steroids to compete. That's what be my argument. Okay,
that'll be the next thing, and then
you want to allow that? Okay, I should be able to be on steroids. How about that?
You know, I'm gonna tag in my daddy.
Right.
And let him race instead of me.
My dad now identifies me in women's sports.
Hey, you know what? Why can't he? You know, so I could be whatever I want to be.
I'm gonna call up Michael Phelps, have him come out of retirement. This is a brand new swimmer. Yeah.
Man.
This is Michelle.
Identifies Vera DeMilo.
Right. Michelle Phelps.
Remember Vera?
Yeah,
Living Color.
Living Color, yeah.
Hey,
exactly.
Hey, before the time. Dang, that's crazy. Hey, that's crazy. Way before their time.
Yeah, for sure.
But anyway, I digress. We're gonna go ahead and skip to the next thing. So what is the next thing? Oh. I don't want to spend a whole lot of time on this anyway. Like I said, we've been at it for a while, but we have stuff that's going on in Israel, the back and forth between Israel and Iran. Israel struck Iran. They said that they had weapons, you know, that they wanted to destroy, and they wanted to do it immediately. You know, they felt like that they were playing in the U.S.'s face because Trump was trying to, you know, spark up a deal, and he wanted peace. But, you know, Israel said that they felt they needed to strike right away. But I'm gonna go ahead and hop in and see what the update is on this whole thing.
As you take a live look, we are following breaking news. The Associated Press reporting Iran renews missile attacks on Israel, killing 5 and wounding dozens. As we discuss this breaking news, I do want to share with you the very latest video we are getting from our content partners over at Fox News Edge on this Monday. Transitioning your screen now to show you that latest video. This as the Associated Press reports Iran fired a new wave of missile attacks on Israel early this Monday, triggering air raid sirens across the country as emergency services reported at least 5 killed and dozens more wounded in the fourth day of a conflict between the regional foes that showed no sign of slowing. One missile fell near the American consulate in Tel Aviv, causing minor damage. U.S. Ambassador Mike Huckabee reporting this on X, going on to say there were no injuries to American personnel. We do know Iran announced it had launched some 100 missiles and vowed further retaliation for Israel's sweeping attacks on its military and nuclear infrastructure, which have killed at least 224 people in the country since last Friday. Now, ahead of the initial attack, Israel's Mossad spy agency positioned explosive drones and precision weapons inside Iran. And since then, Iran has reportedly detained several people on suspicion of espionage. On this Monday, authorities hanged a medical doctor who had been in prison since 2023 after being convicted of supplying Mossad with, quote, sensitive and classified information, that coming from an Iranian state-run television report to the Associated Press. Let's get back to this live look as we further discuss this breaking news on this.
All right. We can stop right there. So, you got conflict in the Middle East. What do you think this is going? You think this is going to turn into something where we have to hop in, or do you think it's just we think it's going to be worked out?
I hope it's worked out. Like you said, President Trump was trying to negotiate, using peace talks, but Israel said, "No, we're gonna just jump in and start firing missiles." So I don't know what that's about. You have a country that you're allied with, and you're having a country that's supposed to be helping you, and then you just go ahead and do it the way you want to do it. So not really sure where this is gonna go. Hopefully this is not something that lingers for too long, but we've been in things like this before, so we'll see.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy because we are. I haven't heard any talks of the war being over. With Russia and Ukraine, and we're like, in a proxy war, as some people would call it. We're funding, or we have been funding them, and to go from that to another country we support, just reacting, in a manner that puts us in harm's way. It's kind of like, if you driving and somebody cuts you off, and then the girl, she in the passenger seat yelling and cussing them out. You know what I'm saying? And now, you know what I'm saying? If it's a guy in the car, guess what? He might say something to her, but guess what? You in the car with her, so now you gonna be involved too.
Yeah.
And so hopefully this is not something that we have to get involved in. But it doesn't look good. There's American people over there, and if any harm, is done to them, I could see us actually, jumping in. And I think, let me see, I had another, let me see real quick. Let's see. I want to be, fair. So I'm gonna play. So Trump left the summit, the G7 summit, early because of
Collins, who's in Canada with the president, got word that he's cutting his trip short there from the G7 and returning to Washington tonight, further amplifying the notion that the U.S. may be getting involved in the fight. We don't know for sure yet. In addition to all of that, there was this today from Israel's prime minister saying he would not rule out a strike on Iran's supreme leader, Ayatollah Khamenei.
So are you going to target the supreme leader?
Look, we're doing what we need to do. I'm not going to get into the details, but we've targeted their top nuclear scientists. It's basically Hitler's nuclear team.
But U.S. officials tell us that the president flatly rejected a plan, an opportunity that the Israelis had to take out the supreme leader. Do you understand his concern? My understanding is his concern is that this would escalate the conflict beyond where it is already.
It's not going to escalate the conflict. It's going to end the conflict.
That conflict so
See that? Just outright defiance. You're just gonna do what you want to do.
Yeah, that's what it sounds like.
And he doesn't seem like he cares if it brings us into it, because if you end the conflict, you're gonna have to destroy each and every person in there, in that country.
Iran is not a small country either, so
exactly.
Yeah, you're gonna have a fight on your hand. And then if you fight with Iran, you might have to bring Russia into it.
Right.
Because that's their ally.
Yeah, bro. This
You're
sounds
gonna
like
have a proxy war by association. Because then Russia get into it. And America has to jump in, and then they have to choose, sides based on that. It's just crazy.
Yeah, man. Oh yeah, you're right. I don't know. Iran and Russia have been deepening their military and economic ties. China, North Korea.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. See, man, this is
no
this is
bueno.
crazy.
No bueno.
No good at all, man. So,
right.
We're not
fighting. You're gonna be fighting 3-4 different people.
Well, that's like a plot, bro. Like that, we can't
It
get you
is.
involved in this Ukraine war.
Right.
You know what? We gonna get you involved some kind of way.
Right.
And we be involved with the same people who we didn't want to get involved in a war.
You're gonna get involved, or I'm gonna knock your ass out.
Oh man, you want some too? I saw that last night. You want me some money too?
We got about $200. I got about $200. Huh?
Man, it's crazy. It's crazy. But like I said, we're not gonna spend a lot of time on that. I just wanted to bring it to everyone's awareness, what's going on, where we're at, who we're dealing with as allies. And Trump is trying to avoid war, because he said no new wars. That's one of the things that he ran on, is no new wars. Man, something I saw this weekend, man. I saw one of the, since we were talking about movies early on, I saw I'm sure you're gonna know the quote, "Life is like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're gonna get."
Mm-hmm.
I saw that movie this weekend, where I rewatched the movie this weekend, man. And it's funny how you see or grab different things from stuff that you've seen or read or watched before. But I was looking at his girl, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
His girl Jenny.
Mm-hmm.
She they met it as when they were kids, met on the bus, and he was pretty much there to kind of tell his life story, but he was there to when he was sitting at the bus stop, the whole story was about, if it wasn't about him by himself, it was about Jenny. And he loved Jenny his whole life, and he wanted to be with Jenny. He wasn't even trying to have sex with her, really. You know what I'm saying? When she tried to touch on him, he froze up. He didn't know what to do. But the reason why I bring that up is because it took her her entire life. You know, she had been ran through. You know, she had did drugs.
Mm-hmm.
You know, she had did all these crazy things, you know, in her life. You know, she was living, as some women would say. But she did all that stuff. And then at the end of her life, after she had gave everything to everybody else, after she was, you know, had done all that she, you know, all that she wanted, you know, all she had wanted to do in life, you know, she gave him her sloppy 100s, not just seconds.
Mm-hmm.
Like she decided, you know, she wanted to marry him.
Mm.
And I was like, man, that's crazy, man, because we have people like that, you know, who, you know, I gotta live my life when I'm, you know, young, but then, you know, when they tired and worn out and, you know, been ran through, now they wanna, you know, settle down.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I don't know. It was just something that stuck out to me. Like, do you recall that, like the movie, like how it kind of like played out?
Yeah. I mean, they both lived their lives. She just lived her lives in a different way. You know, he was kind of exploring and, you know, trying to figure out life, you know, and she was exploring, trying to figure out life too. You know, he just so happened to love or like one girl, and she just so happened to love and like many different people.
She was everybody's, yeah.
Right. So it was just kind of like, you know, unfortunately, people look at life, you know, from different perspectives, you know, when it comes to being intimate. You know, some people can have many different partners, and, you know, others can have one partner only, you know. So, yeah, it was definitely a crazy movie.
Would you say it's a double standard?
Oh yeah, there's many different things in life. There's going to always be a double standard. Of course.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's all.
That's it.
That's all.
That's it. There's no need to expand on it.
Okay. Well, yeah. Yeah, he did live his life. He, you know, it's funny because all these different things that he did, you know, he was around all these famous people. You know, he met, you know, the king, you know, Elvis Presley, the president. You know, he won a medal. He was like a ping pong, you know, champion. Like he did a lot in life. I mean, one thing that I could take for him is that, you know, he did live his life to the fullest, and he, you know, took every opportunity to, you know, make his life better. But then the other side of that, he, even though he was successful, you know, and I guess it's contributed to how he grew up, and then also his mental capacity. He never, you know, thought he was better than anybody else, you know.
Right.
Like when he was at the bus stop, you know, he said that, yeah, we invent, you know, I'm the owner of Bubba Gump Shrimping Company. And the dude was like, you know, we was sitting next to a millionaire all this time. You sure tell a good story. Nah, and then he showed the lady the magazine after the guy had left, you know, and you know, she looked like, oh, you are really him, but he stayed grounded, you know, and it wasn't anything that separate. I mean, that he had. He didn't get outside of himself. He didn't say that, you know, he was better than anybody else because of that. And it kind of reminded me of another movie, Waterboy, because he always just said, "My mama said." My mama said, and I was just like, dang, boy, if you say your mama said one more time, man. Anyway. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So did you have any closing remarks, man? We're gonna go ahead and end the show.
Yeah, man. I'm glad that we were able to get back on here and, you know, redo the show per se, or do a show, you know, because of that Friday the 13th magic that got on us and took our voices away. So
practice, man.
Yeah, there we go. We get to get better at, we're both coming to know, like, and love about, this podcast journey that we're on together. So it's always a good time when we get on here, and we always want to be a space and a place for people to come and bring not just their emotions, but also kind of look at it from their logical standpoint, kind of build on your creativity and the way you see and think about things, not just based on what you hear or what you see somebody said, but also what you feel is right. And, how you go about doing your own research, to kind of develop your abilities to break down different informations and events and make a determination whether it's morally right, or if it's just altogether wrong. So we always like to have, banter back and forth, but we always want to keep it respectful and come together at the end and still be cordial and friends or family and whatnot. So appreciate you, Cuzzo, as always, for, putting this together technical wise. And yeah, we'll see you on Friday because we got another show coming up in 2 days.
You know what? The Matrix, we talked about that last time. And I think that was a good part of a good transition. And I'll just say, as my final thoughts, people talk about today like red pill space and stuff like that, and they use it in a different way than it was, I don't want to say intended for, but if you're basing it on the movie, it was intended for an awakening, because the machine or the Matrix wanted people to see the world as something that it wasn't. And Morpheus, I don't know, I never knew how he actually, was unlocked. Maybe they said it, but maybe maybe it's just been so long I forgot. I might have to watch that movie tonight. But his job was to give people an option. He never forced it up on anybody. He gave you the option. Do you want the red? He showed you first, and then he gave you the option. Do you want to see more of what is true? Do you want the blue pill? You can keep things like they are. You can believe that nasty porridge you eat in the steak, or you could see what really is happening, what's behind the machine, what's the, what's really going on, how the world really is behind the scenes. And so he gave all those people he was with the option. And you had one guy, what was his name? Gears, or no, it wasn't Gears, whatever his name was. He chose to go back. He was like, you know what? I don't want to see what's behind the scenes no more. I'm tired of it. I like the steak is good, even though I really know it's not steak. And we all get a choice. And I think that's what, kind of what Cuzzo was saying. I don't know if I don't want to put words in your mouth, but we get to come to an understanding of what, we come to a crossroads sometimes, and we get to decide if we want to know what is true, or if we want to still continue to live in the same space. Right? If we want to see what's really going on, or do we want to continue to be fed what's going on? So with that being said, in all things get understanding. Man, thank you guys for allowing us to work through our process and actually hear our voice this week. And again, like Cuzzo said, we have another show for you this Friday. That should not happen again unless the network goes down or something like that. Hopefully not, but things happen. But we'll do our best to make it up to you. We appreciate each and every one of you. Please like, comment, subscribe. If there's something in the show you didn't agree with us with, or if you agree with us, drop a comment and let us know how you feel.
Where that banner at? Where that nice banner at? That would have been perfect right there. Like, comment, share, subscribe. The one you had up earlier. There you go. Oh, that blocks out our faces. All right.
We good.
Okay.
We good. I just gotta do that right there.
Boom. Yeah.
Yeah.
And the guy's name was Cypher in the Matrix.
Cypher. There you go.
Yeah. Wanted to go back.
Yeah, he was like, man, I like this steak, man. It's hey.
Right.
And nothing wrong with a good steak, though. I like steak too. But anyway, with that being said, man, we love you, appreciate you. I didn't want to say that because somebody else I watch says that, so I want to say something different. I don't want to say exactly what they said. But anyway, man, hey, we appreciate you guys. We'll see you next time. Peace.